How much longer can I live in my own skin without knowing the truth?
This is so crazy.
My one hard line in the sand was that she never engaged in transactional relationships. I found an old profile. She laid out the fact that she couldn't host and exactly what she wanted in a wealthy benefactor. For the last 15 years, she has sworn that the profile was just a joke.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That response made me roll my eyes so hard they got stuck in my head.
When none of the factors that surround it say this is a joke, real name, real number, real details.
I can see why it's been eating away at him.
The question becomes, the truth that you're seeking, is it because you want to know the truth, or is it because you want to know if you've been right all along? What about this is a deal breaker for you? Have you ever really dug deep into that thought process? Remove the obsession and the lie that's eating you. If I woke up today and I found out my partner did this, would I leave her? You'd be surprised at what you wouldn't leave your partner for.
I know, and especially when you're 15 years in. If you ask her and she says no,
what do you do?
The truth always comes out.
How you guys doing today? Welcome to another episode of Love Up for Debate. Before I get into my story today, I want you to hit that like and subscribe button. And the reason I want you to is because if you enjoy these stories that we give you, the like and subscribe button help us to keep coming back with more, help us grow our channel. It's really, really helpful for us. And we appreciate all the love and all the feedback. And I got a pretty wild story today. It's going to be a lot of fun, but you know, all the fun stories kind of turn serious sometimes. So we're going to see how it ends, but stick around because I promise this could go in many directions. Okay. Without further ado, I'm going to read my story. And in the meantime, again, hit that like and subscribe. We appreciate all the love that we've been getting initially.
We do.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Yeah, I'm so ready.
Okay, this is a different one. Okay, my wife and I have been married for 15 years. Oh, I need to stop this. Some of this was pretty intense one. Like, it's funny, but it's intense. So it's like I had to kind of censor some of the stuff. Okay.
Okay.
So some of it's censored, but I need y'all to put two and two together.
Yeah. All right. Okay. I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. My wife and I have been married for 15 years, and I've been the sole provider since the beginning. Before we got serious, she used to run in the early 2000s club scene, hanging out with rappers and highly questionable guys who actively exploited women. She swore she was just caught up in the scene and was above all that, and I loved her enough to look past it. My one hard line in the sand was that she never engaged in transactional relationships.
Okay.
A couple of years into living together, I found an old profile she made on a site like SplendaDaddy.com.
What?
Splenda. It wasn't vague. It wasn't vague. It wasn't vague either. She used her usual online alias and laid out highly specific factual details, her real phone number, the fact that she couldn't host, and exactly what she wanted in a wealthy benefactor, right down to the guy's race and wanting kids.
Okay. Wow.
To me, looking for a compensated arrangement online crosses that hard line I drew. But for the last 15 years, she has sworn up and down that the profile was just a joke she made with a girlfriend to see what kind of guys would respond. She refuses to budge and insists that if I don't believe her version of events, it's unacceptable. Am I overreacting for thinking her excuse is total nonsense? I've been accusing her of not being honest for over a decade, and it literally makes me sick to my stomach when I connect this highly detailed profile to her history with those exploitative guys in the club scene. I want to believe her, but I feel like there's way more to the story. How much longer can I live in my own skin without knowing the truth?
Ooh. This is so crazy.
I told you.
This is so crazy. So this was like 15 years.
They've been together for 15 years.
Okay.
He's been the sole provider since the beginning.
And she created that profile pretty early on?
Before they were together.
All
this was her history prior to them.
Okay.
So he set boundaries like, I get it. That was your past. The one thing I will never be happy with, or the one thing that would stop me from us being together, would be if there was any sort of transactional type of relationships going on.
Okay.
So you can put that together. And obviously she said there wasn't. A couple of years in of them living together, he found an old profile she made on that site. And obviously he's still.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't even know where to start with this one. Mm-hmm. This is really a wild one for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's been eating at him for so many years. Yeah. How do you let something eat away at you for that long?
If you want an answer to that, it's because she told him nothing happened.
And he's been holding on to that.
He's been speculating.
I mean, I would speculate too. But also, I would question, like, how have her actions been in the relationship as well? You know what I mean? I feel like that is very important because people have a past. Like, some people have, like, pasts
Sure.
that, like, maybe were, like, you're not happy about when it comes to, like, your partner and what they've done prior to you. But also I'm going to say some people can change.
Yeah.
And put that past life behind them. But I feel like if you choose to move forward with the person, it's only fair that you like, leave it at that. I don't think that it's fair to like to continue to hold on to it and allow yourself to feel all of these feelings towards your partner for so many years when all she keeps saying is like, like that's what it was and the
Yeah.
past is in the past and
Yeah.
it wasn't nothing was transactional.
Right.
But like
I'll get into some of my opinions on this. These are all hypothetical. Well, the hypothetical that I guess I want to ask you, that I just kind of like thought of as you were talking, is based on what you're saying. 15 years into the relationship, I think we both agree that we're deep into the relationship now. You found this 2 years in. It's now 10 years later, basically. It's 13 years later if we want to be technical. Okay. Her response was that it was a joke. We'll get into that response.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That response made me roll my eyes so hard they got stuck in my head.
But regardless of that, hypothetically, obviously he's been dwelling on this, and you're basically saying kind of how I feel in a sense. And one of my kind of reasonings with this is that if you're going to move on, if you're going to choose to accept this, then you have to completely let it go.
Yeah.
The question I have, though, is what happens if he ever does find out that this wasn't true? That things did happen as he thought they did, or as he's been kind of obviously obsessing over as they did. If he finds that out this deep into the relationship, I guess what would you say could or should be the outcome? What would be or at least a valid or legitimate response from him, for her?
Ooh. Oh gosh, that's a tough one because like she would then have held on to a lie for so long. And it's like, what else have you lied about at that point? It is just so crazy. But I also understand that some people, like if it were true, she could be embarrassed by it. Or it could be one of those situations where she found the love of her life and she didn't want to like ruin any chance that she may have with him. I know that tends to happen where people will not be, like completely honest about their past because they fear that this person will not accept them. Especially if he has those clear like boundaries and is like, that is the one thing that I cannot deal with. But also when someone is telling you that, then, you shouldn't lie to the person or try to like suppress that just to get with them, because the truth always comes out at some point.
Well,
like,
even if it doesn't, to piggyback off what you're saying or to extend the conversation, what people don't realize, I think, is that the lie that she's telling or the lie that she allegedly is telling to keep him and not lose him is the very thing that's causing him this disarray, this
Yeah.
torture. So it's actually working against her. It's actually working against the relationship, because the very thing you're doing to keep the relationship is the very thing that's tearing it apart.
That is such a good point. That is a really good point. And I'm sure that happens to a lot of couples as well.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
This is what we like to call gaslighting.
Ah, yes. That's the true definition for anyone who
His brain
needs to know.
is logically telling him, this doesn't make sense. I know that when I've lived a life, I've had enough experience in life to know that when A happens and B is the consequence, when A happens, B is the reason.
Yeah.
When you do XYZ and the outcome is ABC, I know the reason. His brain is telling him that, but he can't confirm it. And that's where this like cognitive dissonance is coming in, where he's basically dealing with thinking he knows the truth, but not being able to prove this truth.
Yeah.
And the question becomes, is it the truth that you're seeking? Is it because you want to know the truth? Or is it because you want to know if you've been right all along? So that's where this gets hard, because the whole quote unquote joke response,
Yeah.
basically what he's having to do is fight against what she's telling him her intentions were against what her actions actually were.
Yes.
And he cannot prove her intention.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Which is what's killing him.
Yeah.
Because there's no resolution for this without her coming out and just saying it. Now you can say things like the truth always comes out, but we're 15 years in.
Yeah.
If we're talking about 15 years ago, there's a chance where things that were on the internet aren't live, don't live on the internet anymore.
That's a good point.
Now, today, sure.
That is such
Back
a good
then,
point.
can you find the messages I wrote in my BlackBerry instant messenger?
Right.
Probably never.
No.
Right? So he is dealing with a lot of kind of logic versus emotion type things. And I think, obviously, she's contributing to this. And I think he has to figure out for himself, because what he cannot do is he can't change what happened. Even if his suspicions do come to fruition, if they are true, he can't change that, right?
Right.
So I think what he has to decide internally, because again, it's not about whether they're true or not. I mean, it is in a sense, but it's also about what is your response? What is your what would you do if they do become true? You have to, because there's a world where she takes this to the grave and he never knows.
Yeah.
So you either have to figure out if you can live with this.
Okay.
And get over it and move
like
forward.
live with the not knowing.
Live with the not knowing.
Okay.
Or if it's a deal breaker. Also, the second decision you have to make is, if you do find out it's true, can you live with it? Or is it a deal breaker? There's a lot.
Yeah.
And I think
this is deep.
He carried this for so long. And again, this does happen a lot, where you can't prove something that happened and it just eats away at you. And you don't even know if you're upset that it happened or upset that you can't prove if it happened or not.
Yeah. Know what you mean.
And just why the lie becomes becomes more of the focus here, or the alleged lie.
Right.
Because you can't prove if it's intentionally or if it was a joke. Obviously, that sounds absurd.
That just sounds so crazy. And wait, that was a few years in?
Yeah, a few years in, he found this profile.
And then that's when she was like,
And he is
oh, like,
obsessed over this for years. Now, if I was talking to her, if I was telling her, which I kind of did in the beginning, you're ruining the relationship with this lack of trust. The joke, the quote unquote joke, is just not going to cut it. Clearly, he's obsessed over this for years, and it doesn't sound real. It doesn't sound realistic. Making a profile that's a joke, and then, along with the rest of some of the behaviors that he said you had back in the day, which he claims he didn't judge you on, but the quote unquote joke, when none of the factors that surround it say this is a joke, real name, real number, friend, real details.
That's so crazy.
They don't scream joke to him.
They don't. I could see why it's been eating away at him.
Yeah. And for him, it comes down to, what do you do if you never find out the truth? Only you can make that decision, and you have to be honest with yourself. Clearly, it's been like, I'll kind of give a bit of a relatable story, not super relatable because I never had this, but I dated a girl who's a dancer, an exotic dancer. Initially, I thought I was cool with it. I thought I could be cool with it. This turned into insecurity, paranoia, distrust, even though she really had the same behaviors prior that she did during our relationship.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's not the exact same story, but it's like, I had to come to terms with myself that, okay, I'm not built for this. I'm not equipped for this. At least at the time. I was in my 20s. I was in my early 20s. Like, this was not going to work out.
Yeah.
And I ended the things amicably because I was like, listen, I'm not here to force you to stop what you're doing, or, because I got with you thinking I can handle it. But I also realized that, like, I can't handle this. So I didn't lie to myself for like years and years and years.
Yes.
And tuck it away until it became like this major issue. I was like, nope, I can't. And I think that's what he kind of has failed to do.
Yes.
Where he's lied to himself and had this consistent paranoia and obsession internally, and he's still on it. He's still pondering it, and that's not where you want to be 15 years into your relationship.
No, that is such a long time to hold that in. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, obviously he loves her, and they have to have some great things going for him to want to stick around for 15 years.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I were in his shoes, if that were eating away at me, I couldn't last that long. Yeah. I think like pretty early on, like we're going to have to figure something out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's just no way that I could hold on to that for 15 years.
Yeah.
Like after the whole joke situation.
Yeah, so I think that he has just some internal decisions to make. The first one I would personally be like, I think the first thing you have to consider is that you never find out the truth. Can you live with that? Because if you can't, then you got to make it, unfortunately, and it sucks because you got to make this 15 years into the relationship, and you should have stopped this years ago, whenever this had been eating away at you. And you should have figured that out about yourself. That clearly you can't live with this. Clearly you can't handle this. And it's one of those, like, again, another learning experience. It's a harsh learning experience. I mean, they say experience it's a cruel teacher, and this is a tough one. This is a tough one because you allowed it to last for so long, and unfortunately for her, she didn't she contributed to this whole joke thing, her downplaying it, her thinking that she could, again, and this is alleging that it's not true. But I do think that you didn't hold her to the fire or didn't demand, some sort of explanation. The joke narrative, it just, it's not good enough. And maybe it was, maybe there was some sort of like haha attached to it. I'm sure she's clinging on to the fact that maybe there was some sort of kind of joking, part of it. I'm sure setting up the profiles like, haha, I'm doing this with my girlfriend. We're going to be funny and stuff. But then on the flip side of that, there was like what would have happened if somebody replied and you did get a gentleman to, to take care of your life transactionally, have a transactional relationship. That's the real question.
Yeah.
And that's one thing you'll never know, but it's something that she, I don't know if she's ever going to tell you the truth, but she should. She really should if she loves you. But again, she's been withholding, or she's been it sounds like downplaying this. And even if she's not, let's say this entire thing that she said is true. Let's say it was a joke. Let's say it was a dare. Let's say it was like somebody bet her money that she wouldn't do it, and the whole thing was an entire joke. You clearly can't deal with the joke either.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point to make.
And you should have, and I hate talking about what you should have done because we can only talk about what you got to do going forward. But that's something you probably should have pinpointed in the beginning, from the start. Like, maybe it's a joke. I don't know if it's a joke. I don't feel good about it though, and it's going to eat at me forever. We've been through those things where I'm like, listen, like, I came to terms with like, okay, this might be true, but like, I need to know if it's true or not. And you're going to have to tell me so I feel better. And it doesn't always feel better that you know the truth, but it does feel better that you know the truth. Like it's hard to,
Yeah.
The truth doesn't make you feel better, but knowing that you now know the truth, it's a trust thing. It's like, even against all odds, even against adversity, even if it's uncomfortable and embarrassing and demeaning, your partner is like, you know what? I am going to tell them the truth. And nothing crazy. I'm just saying that we've had those conversations where, I because I know this about myself. It was something that'll eat at me until you say, I need a reason for this. I need to know if this is true or not.
Yeah.
I need to know what's up. And the honesty that I receive in return is what allows our relationship to flourish consistently going forward. Because if you're able to be honest about that, then you're not going to lie to me about the smaller things in the future, and that's a really strong foundation. Now, if they were, and she has to do it with the fear that you could potentially leave her, but she owes that to you. She owes that to the relationship, but I don't know if she's going to give it to you. So these are the decisions you have to make based on the hypothetical of her not revealing this to you, or even if she does reveal it to you. Or even if she already has revealed it to you and you just won't accept it.
Man, this is a tough one because it's like, do you want to continue living that way? Like constantly like feeling this way and thinking about, what if she's not being honest?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that has to be agonizing, seriously. So it's one of those, like, I don't know. I feel like he definitely needs to make a decision of like, what are you going to do moving forward? Do you bring back up the conversation? I mean, 15 years in, I'm sure you have to have another conversation.
Yeah.
And of course, it's just so crazy to just not know because your brain's telling you like one thing, but it also could very well be the truth that she's told. But I get though, like the picking things apart and things not adding up.
Yeah.
And our brains are also here to protect us as well at the end of the day, so, but I feel like that's like a tough decision. I just know like if I were in his shoes, I would not want to continue to live on with that agonizing thought of like, is what she's telling me the truth?
Yeah.
Or am I crazy? Like, I would feel like
That's
I'm
what
going
gaslighting does.
crazy.
That's
Yeah.
what gaslighting. And I'm not even saying she's guilty of it, because if she is telling the truth, then it technically isn't gaslighting.
It sucks.
That's
He's
where
driving his own self crazy.
Yeah, and that's where this becomes like a bit of a conundrum here, which is why he has to internally figure out how he can move forward. Because he has to move forward knowing that she could be telling the truth or she could be telling a lie, but knowing that he's clearly not able to live with it, or that he can live with it and he's got to stop obsessing over it. But he has to make a concrete decision here.
Yeah. Oof.
He has to make she doesn't owe it to him, but she didn't write this in. I'm talking directly to him. If I was talking to her, yeah, you have to, it's not about just saying, hey, this was a joke. Prove that to me and be willing to prove it to me. Whatever homegirl you did it with before, call her up. Whatever profile you made, pull it up. Like whatever you can to prove that this was a joke, give me peace of mind. Like you should pursue that. I think that I hate that. And I like, we want to say like our partner, like you should trust your partner. We want to trust our partner. But also on the flip side, our partner should do what it takes to like gain that trust, or to earn that trust, or to keep that trust. There's two sides of that coin there. Yeah. Should you trust your partner? Sure. But life has taught us that people are not super trustworthy. So when you love somebody, even in love, things happen that are that are disloyal.
Yeah.
So on the flip side of that, a partner should be willing and proactively, not being asked to, because the proactive part is what says, you know what, like they're actually making an effort. It's not about just like, it's not about her, it's not about like I come to you and be like, hey, did you cheat on me? It's like, and I'm just using cheating for easy purposes. This isn't a cheating case. Or it's like, hey, did you, do X, Y, and Z? But it's also like, no, I didn't do that. And I want to prove to you that I didn't do that, because it seems like you're obsessing over that. That goes a really long way. And maybe you can sit here and say that you shouldn't have to do that, and maybe you shouldn't, but love gives you different rules. That's the problem, is you guys weren't like, people run around and like they want to live, they act like they want to, like everything is like data analysis and like rules to it. It's like love removes all those rules. Love says, as a partner, it's okay to say, you know what, I'm gonna prove to my partner that I didn't cheat on them, regardless if I should have to or not. There's no have to or not have to. That's where we start getting wrong in all of this, is putting these boundaries on what like we should have to do in a loving relationship. You don't have to or not have to do anything, but love allows you to do a lot more things, and there's things that you could do that won't be a detriment to you, that'll give your partner peace of mind, and that's one of them. So if I was talking to her, that's the advice I give to her, but I got to talk to him because he's the one kind of going through it at this point. And and that's where we're at. It's just, again, like that's the decision. Can you live with this? If you can, dude, you got to figure out a way to not obsess over this. You have to. And if you can't, then you got to do what you got to do for your own, mental health. But
yeah. So like, I mean, what do you think is like the best way if he's like wanting to move forward, staying in the relationship? Because I feel like 15 years is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But he wants to work on not obsessing over the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've been in a similar situation where you've had to stop, obsessing over something.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, what's the best route to take? Like how does one stop? Because I feel like years, even just, it doesn't matter how many years. I think it's very difficult to retrain your mind.
Yeah.
To stop obsessing.
The way you do it, the way that I would do it, the way that I have done it, is to offer my partner some grace. And it's going to sound bad, but if you want to stop obsessing and you love your partner, you want to move forward with the relationship, you have to kind of accept the fact that they might have told you this one lie.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it. And then you have to give them the benefit of the doubt of, they told me this because, like, you have to put yourself, again, this is if you want to move the relationship forward and don't want to obsess over this. There's really no other way to do this but to shoot your partner some bail and say, I understand. If they are lying to me, I understand why they're lying to me. And I'm going to maybe even ignorantly believe that this is the only time they have lied to me about this. I know we like to say that if they're capable of lying here, then they are capable of lying elsewhere. It does ring true, for sure. But there's also another side where it says, just because they lied here doesn't mean they lied to me here. Doesn't mean they lied to me again. I know that sounds crazy, but we are humans, and all of us have probably lied to a partner, and it was a single lie to try to avoid something, and we didn't ever lie to them again. You ever did something wrong and you felt so bad about it you never did it again? We all have done that.
Yeah.
You might have
That's true.
stolen from somebody. You might have I'm trying to think of things that are kind of like, maybe outside of your character, or maybe something that you didn't like that you did and felt bad about it and was like, I may never tell anybody that I ever did that, but I'm never going to do that again because of the way it makes me feel and the way I made somebody else feel. And that's kind of the way you got to shoot your partner some bail. And it sucks because you're having to do it for them, but it's really the only way to not obsess over it. And then you gotta kind of almost, and this is the sucky part, but you gotta kind of almost accept that it could be true, but that you're okay with it. And I wanted to get into that point because the real question is, what about this specific thing is a deal breaker for you? Like, have you ever really dug deep into that thought process? Right? Because you said it's a deal breaker. Like, if she does a transactional relationship, that's a deal breaker for me. Why? I'm not saying you're not entitled to that. I think it'd probably be a deal breaker for most of us. But why is it for you?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Why is that why is that the one thing? Is it something personal, something you've been through? Is it just something that society looks on as like negative? Like you would judge, you seem would have judged her really harshly on that decision. And rightfully so. There's nothing wrong with judging. There's nothing wrong with, I don't want to say judging her, but there's nothing wrong with you having a preference on like having a girl that didn't do that, right? Because yes, for sure, that is that's something you probably don't want to find out about your girl,
Yeah.
Is it really a deal breaker for you? Have you convinced yourself of that, or is that the end all be all? And then find out and figure out why. Because you might discover that like it would upset you and it would make you mad and it might make you sick to your stomach for a little bit. But could you live with it? Do you love your girl enough where you're like, I'd get over that? Or would you really leave your girl if you found that out? Maybe you would. I'm not saying you wouldn't. I'm saying those are things to think about and discover internally.
Yeah.
You set that boundary. It seems maybe you had something specific and a reason why, but you need to sit and think about like, what is that? What's the reason for that? Why is that the deal breaker? And you risked it. You clearly risked it. You said she was involved in scenes with rappers and this whole kind of culture and life where that seemed to happen around her, and then decided to continue approaching her and dating her, and then found that 2 years into the relationship and then continued dating her and approaching her. So clearly you love the girl. You love her enough to kind of overlook that and torture yourself for 15 years. Is this really a deal breaker for you? If it is, there's nothing wrong with that, but you should discover that and explore that a little bit more, because I find that sometimes love does trump the things that we think are deal breakers too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Plenty of people stay with their partner after they cheated.
Yes.
Case in point.
That's very true.
Something that was a deal breaker.
Yep. They were able to get past it, see past it, accept them back with open arms.
And I'm only telling you this because these are ways to, if you're going to stay with this girl, these are ways to get over this. These are ways to get past this. Look back and be like, is this really a deal breaker? or am I just like, or is this just like something internally that I've kind of convinced myself is like is my boundary, or is my you know is my you know is the one thing that I like won't date a girl over, because sometimes those boundaries move too when you love somebody.
Yeah. I like that too, because like I just feel like sometimes you don't realize like why you feel the way that you feel about certain things. But if you like sit with yourself and like get to know yourself and like dig deeper,
Yeah.
it really can be like eye opening. I feel like I have changed a lot of like what I can handle compared to like how I was like many years ago.
Sure.
Like first dating or
Absolutely.
first and second relationship that was serious. I'm so different now.
Yep.
My boundaries and deal breakers have absolutely changed.
Yep.
And that's actually a wild thing to think about.
Yeah.
But I do think that it was also because of like societal pressures.
That's one for sure.
Things that like I was just taught, like
That's
growing
two,
up.
for sure.
I think I said this on a previous episode, so I don't know, maybe this is a shock for some people, but I'm not religious.
Well, I
think that's like another.
That's another thing where it's like, and even, and not even to further the conversation of like religion could have taught you this, but also religion in itself, there's a lot of things that will pick up from religion, and then later on realize that those aren't like our foundation or our beliefs, or we, even if you still were religious, that those things that you thought religion taught you weren't actually what they taught you. Like you could change your value system later on.
Yes.
Right. There's things that they say, like the Bible says this person goes to hell. And then later on you could realize like, hold on.
Yeah.
Like, you know, all sin is equal, or this is, you know what I mean? Like there's, or, you know, actually this is, you know, this is talked about more in the Bible. Like there's a lot of things that you grow up, even against specifically religion, where like when you're young, they tell you like it's A or Z, right? Like it's either one, like it's either this or that. It's either black or white. But you grow up and realize, oh wait, there's some different translations here.
Yeah.
Right? So I think we do that outside of religion. You know, because not to inject religion into this, but just in general, we kind of grow up, and he's, you know, again, especially because he's gotten to the point where he's just obsessing over it, right? He's forgotten, or he's not even thinking about like, do I actually care about this? He's just like, I'm convinced that you just care about knowing the truth now.
Yeah.
It's not even about if this could be, did she sleep with, you know, one of your homies back in the day? And you've just always had this thought process that she did. That might not even be a deal breaker, but the lie is what's eating you. And not knowing is what's eating you. That, I think, is really where the core of this. And then that's why I say dig deep and find that. Remove that part. Remove the obsession and the lie that's eating you. And that's valid. It's valid to be upset about that. And it's a valid reason to leave your partner. Don't get me wrong. That is disloyalty. That is distrust. That is betrayal, for sure. But remove that and go back to the basics and say, okay, hold on. I'm a little bit older now. We're 15 years in. Is the actual action itself a deal breaker? If I just found out, if I didn't obsess over this for the last 15 years, and I woke up today and I found out my partner did this, would I leave her? You'd be surprised at what you wouldn't leave your partner
I know, and especially when you're 15 years in.
Dude, when I'm in my 20s, like, you know, number count mattered. Now, maybe in my 30s, like, I wouldn't want a girl that's been with like 300 guys, but I'm probably not obsessive over like, you know, like you got to be with less than 2 guys. You know what I mean? Like, I know it wasn't like that extreme with it, but at the same time, it's like, dude, as long as I don't, like, I'm not going to ask you. And we're 30 plus now. Like who you are now is probably not who you were, you know, 10 years ago. And I'm not gonna penalize you for that. And it wouldn't even be a deal breaker. So all I would be doing is pissing myself off.
Yes,
and hurting
by, like,
myself
knowing the
by knowing the
number,
number
like,
and knowing that like it wouldn't actually even affect me, but now I know, and it's like, oh man, it's way higher than I thought it was going to. Like, for what? Because it wasn't even a deal breaker to begin with. So why
Yeah.
even obsess over that? So that's why I'm saying strip all of that away. Get back to the lie for sure. If she's lying and you need to know for sure, obsess over the lie. I get that. I totally understand that. But like for a second, remove that and then figure out again if like is the actual action still a deal breaker for you.
Right.
I find that a lot of times we've since changed kind of our values, and if it still is, there's nothing wrong with that for sure, right? Like if she was doing transactional relationships, that is a big deal, and it could still be a relationship deal breaker 15 years later. But I don't know. I see a lot of times like it might not be. It might not be. You might have changed some of, especially not even just changing because like you've changed your belief system or changed your value system or whatever, but also changed because you've grown with this girl. And the girl that you know now, the girl that you're in love with now, is not the girl that did whatever you think she did and you would have been upset about.
Yeah.
This is a new person. And you're in love with that person.
Yes.
Are you leaving
I
her
love
over
that. That's so important for people to hear too, because like over time, like your partner is evolving. They are changing.
Yeah.
And we hope for the better, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we're only 8 years in, and I'm a completely different person
Yeah.
than I was when
Yeah.
you had met me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
if
feel
you were
like
to do something from like our first year or first few months, it would blow my mind because you're just such a, I don't even recall some of that shit
yeah.
because we're almost we're just new people today.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like that's so important for people to hear right now. If you're going through, just any sort of like, just kind of like dealing with what he's dealing with, right? Like with the whole, like holding on to something for so long because you feel like your partner might have lied to you about something. I feel like that's very important to think about is like, who are they today? I feel like that holds a lot of weight. That really does say a lot.
Yeah.
Now, if it is something that is absolutely like,
Yeah. Listen, yeah.
like detrimental, like
Yeah.
they hurt somebody or like have done something like so like, or have been accused of something so sickening, like that is so different.
Yeah. So we're talking
different.
specifically just like things that you were judgmental about in the beginning that society said, hey, like this isn't like you shouldn't want a girl that does this, or you shouldn't want a guy that does this. We're not talking about like abusive people or, people that engage in some sort of like criminal activity that
Right.
is painful for other people, anything like that. That's a
Have to
whole
throw out the
different
disclaimer
Yeah.
because I don't want anybody to sit there and be like, oh, but like,
Yeah. No.
oh, he's a different person now. Like,
Yeah,
no, he's
yeah.
sick and you need to get away from him.
For sure. But
But
yeah.
yeah, I like that.
Something like this, you're allowed to still hold that value system for sure. But do you still hold that value system with the person that you're in love with today? And that's how you get over this if you want to move forward with this girl. That's how I do.
Yeah.
Not to say
Okay.
that you did. That's how I got over it with you. No. But that's how I would approach this today. 15 years in is a long time.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Who are you in love with? Are you in love with the 20-year-old girl that was wilding in music videos? And you still dated her knowing this. So
Yeah, you did.
that's on you, buddy.
Yeah.
And you looked past that, and then you saw this profile a couple of months in, or a couple of years in. You continued on. You're obsessing over the lie.
Yeah.
You're obsessing over the dishonesty that you feel is there, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think finding out if that part's true or not, like, well, I think the truth matters more than the act of what she did. You just want to know if she lied to you or not about it. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But it like,
But then again, it's like if you ask her and she says no, or like her story remains true, Or
That's
to
Well, that's
what
why I
she's
said,
told, it's like, what do you do?
And that's why I told him it's like you have three to see. You either believe her, move forward and get over it. You don't believe her, and you still decide to get over it and move forward with her, or you
Yeah.
don't believe it and tell
And
yourself
then-
it's a deal breaker,
yeah.
and then you end things. You can figure that out for yourself, but don't make an emotional decision over this. Be honest with yourself, sit with yourself, and sit and think about, like, if you love this girl and you want to move forward with her, then how do you get over it? Or
Yeah.
if you think that you can never get over this, like you did yourself a disservice 13 years ago when you told yourself when you believed her and told yourself that, like, okay, I guess I'll just continue with the relationship because she said it was a joke. You did yourself a disservice by not, setting some sort of a boundary for yourself, or some sort of like setting some sort of personal. I don't even know the word. Just setting, like, letting, like, sticking to some sort of value system here. You overlooked it, and now you're still dealing with it 13 years later. You did yourself a disservice back then when you did that, and now you're gonna have to come to terms with how you really feel about this, and the reality of what you plan on doing moving forward. And I don't even think that's hard to do. I think
Yeah.
you just gotta, like, be honest with yourself, and then yeah, I think you can stop the obsession for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do that as humans. We want to know the truth. We want to know. We gotta know. I gotta know. I gotta know. I gotta know. And it's like, what are you gonna do if you don't know? If you never find out?
Yeah.
That's the decision to make. Otherwise, you'll drive yourself crazy, and that's it.
That's no way to live.
Yeah.
It's really not. But
So good luck. I mean, what was I want to make sure we answered the question. What was his question? His question was, am I overreacting for thinking her excuse is total nonsense? You're not overreacting. I think we could probably all agree that, like, the I don't know about it being total nonsense. Obviously, we can all kind of speculate. But what if it's not total nonsense? So I can tell you, like, it feels like total nonsense, just to reinforce and reconfirm some sort of, like, or validate some sort of internal feeling that you have about this. That doesn't give you a solution. That doesn't make you
Yeah.
feel better. Just because, like, we can both think she's lying, but what does that do for you?
yeah.
That doesn't give you the answer. Like,
That's
it doesn't
so
tell
true.
you if she's lying. And it sounds like you just need validation from other people. Like, you need a crowd, or like you need a poll, like you need a voting poll, and that's how you're going to make your decision. Nope. Not how this works.
Yeah.
A voting poll is not going to do it for you. We can all vote, and it could come out 99% to 1%, and you could feel validated that people agree with you, but that doesn't mean the truth has come out.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, so it's not about, he asked how he could kind of live and not find out the truth. You consider the fact that the truth doesn't come out, and how you handle that. Because if you can't handle the truth and you leave her, that will be the remedy, because you won't need to know at that point.
Yeah.
You won't obsess over it anymore. I mean, maybe you might be like, oh, I wonder if that one girl, really did do that, but it's like, it won't matter at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
The brain's a tricky thing.
yep. Okay. I
Yeah.
just want to make sure we answered the question. I don't want to beat a
course.
dead horse.
I know. Yeah.
So,
No, that was a wild one.
yeah,
for sure.
Well, I think it's just more reminiscent of, just, obviously that was very specific on, like, you have a crazy past, or do you have a crazy past? I don't know. Right? Like, maybe you were on splendiddaddy.com. But I think it's more overall a representation of a lie that was told to you, something we obsess over finding the truth, and then not actually getting the truth, and then how we deal with that from a partner.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that's kind of
I
like,
feel like a lot of us can relate.
Yeah. So,
For sure. Yeah.
anything else?
I think that was it. I loved your advice. I feel like that's going to help a lot of people who are probably going through something
Yeah.
similar
Yeah.
right now. even if it's not to like that extreme.
Yeah.
But I think that it's so important to just learn how your brain works and to figure out how to like navigate the things in such like a healthy way.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's really all this is. It's like knowing what you can and can't handle and then like dating accordingly.
yes.
Because, like I said, when I dated the exotic dancer, I didn't know I couldn't handle that. I never
Yeah.
have done it since,
You
right?
thought, yeah,
Like,
of
yeah,
course,
like I
'cause
know
you
now, right? But now I know, obviously I was young, but like now I know myself a lot more. So there, the things that I just kind of like, oh, I don't even call it a red flag, but that's just like a flag for me where, oh, I probably wouldn't continue this relationship because I'm not going to overlook those specific things. I think,
Yeah.
like you said, it's just like really, really like knowing yourself and then not allowing yourself to kind of like, put those boundaries down for anybody so that you don't run into
Yes.
this type of situation. That's really all this comes down to
Yeah.
is like all those signals in the beginning, like just know yourself, stick to your guns, stick to your boundaries, stick to your value system, your belief system, and know what you can handle and what you can't handle, and don't overlook that stuff.
Absolutely.
So yeah, okay, that's it. That's all I
Yeah.
got.
All right. Great episode.
Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. This is another episode of Love for Debate. We appreciate your time. Like and subscribe, okay? We really,
Yes,
really
please.
appreciate y'all sticking around and the love and the responses and the viewership that we've gotten so far. And we hope to continue to give y'all, our lack of expertise and advice. But I think you'll find that, it's pretty fair, you know. It's pretty fair, and it gives everybody perspective on each party's viewpoint, as
Yes.
opposed to saying like, hey, because we've all been through this, you should leave this person, or you shouldn't do this, or you should do this. I like to give options. We like to give
Yeah.
options,
We do. Yeah.
So that's kind of our goal here. Just to kind of, hey, think about this first and then move accordingly. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Love it for debate. I am Breeze Oliver.
I'm Carushi Drake.
And we will see you on the next one.
Bye.